Boom.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scousers. Morning coffee or tea with American Scouser on a Friday morning. It's pretty reckless. Not too thrilled with what I made this morning, but we're gonna have to roll with it during the
Good news
show.
is
It's Reckless Friday. Sir Z's here, Alan is here, and hopefully with his microphone now fixed, Anan is here. What's happening?
good morning. It is good to be back. I haven't turned on this computer since last Friday, and all sorts of updates happened as I was making my tea. And I came downstairs and I see your lips moving, but I had no idea what you were saying. Then it
I
turns
must have
out,
done that on purpose so that you would get all freaked out, but that's a
no, I
different.
also had to hit the unmute button. I guess
That
technology.
helps. That always helps. Obviously, we have the biggest news. We'll start mostly with that. Van Dijk signing. So two out of the three is in. I thought another one well executed. I mean, he was saying like he was all about Liverpool, or it was always Liverpool, I should say, exact quote. Um, and he kind of like really throughout the process we saw that he nothing ever came up apart from you reading a couple of Arabic newspapers where they talked to the PSG guy in the tunnel and stuff like that. Really, we never heard anything about him doing anything behind the scenes to drive the value up and stuff like that. I really think this is probably even better than how Mose was handled from the player side of things.
He made it clear it was always Liverpool. I don't think there's a better way to say and show your loyalty than just that one sentence. It was always Liverpool. At no point were we like, where is he going to end up next? I mean, a lot of people even entertained the Mo conversation. Is he going to be here? Is he going to
Yep.
be there? It was never entertained with Verge. It was just everybody knew what's going to happen. He wants to stay at the club. He has no plan of leaving, and he turned down a significant amount of money from the Saudi league. I mean, we're talking generational wealth. We're getting close to summer. You know, that's the theme
It
of the
always
summer.
is.
Uh, and he's here. He stayed. What does that say? We got an Egyptian guy and a Dutch guy committing their future to a club, and the local boy hasn't said a word.
Yeah,
Gosh,
so how
that
long
that
before
hurts.
he comes up with a "It was always Real Madrid" video? Like,
You know those video. You know how those players signed for Real Madrid. When I was a kid, I always wanted to play for Real Madrid, and he's like 7. I was like, bro, what? You are a kid. Like, what are you talking about? So I anticipate a Trent video. All right, live. I always wanted to play for Real Madrid. You know, like something along those lines. Only a non-entertained Salah leaving. I've got screenshots of you talking about. I got
yeah,
the
Percy
receipt.
has nowhere to sign on that one either. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys did an over panic throughout
Oh,
this process. I think if you and I know there's a lot of talk, a lot of negotiating and stuff like that. A lot of like PR, which clearly Mo and
Rami.
Van Dyke, even though they have different styles, their PR teams have different styles about going about the business, their agents and stuff like that. They're definitely a lot better than what Trent's got going. That's very clear.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so does this change? What does this change in your eyes? I guess.
Well, in a way, we all knew those two would stay. We've always been saying two stay, one go. And we were hoping nothing crazy happens where one of the two leaves. So what does it change? Nothing. What I did say last week though is, and Van Dyke confirmed it, the club shared their transfer policy for this summer, and it's an exciting project. So here's what it changes. I think this club is going to make some major moves this summer, good enough to convince these two guys to not even blink twice. Put pen on paper, move on, and get ready for a big summer. I think we're gonna spend a lot of money, and I think the captain sees it, and he's excited to be a part of the project, and he's excited to lead whoever is to come in. And Mo, same thing. So maybe it changes a little bit of the shit I said about Edwards and Hughes. Apparently they were working. I didn't know. But
Yeah, you talk a lot of smack. Let's back up on those now.
yeah, yeah. And I've always been clear. I am not FSG out. I like and respect FSG, but I was extremely angry with Richard Hughes because I saw zero action, and I panicked. And I was like, "Shit, those two are gonna stay," but it's starting
A
to look like
lot of
they're not
keywords.
gonna stay.
A lot of
So
keywords there. You
yeah,
panicked, yes. I mean, they were working. They're not going to be like, working as you're watching the game on the sideline, like just like
I don't
on the
know if they were
phone.
working all that time or not, because even the players said there's nothing going on. But maybe that's part of their plan. Run them down, let it go till the last minute, and then give them. But I mean, 400K a week for Verge. That's Liverpool paying that money. Holy shit!
Wait, do you think? See, this is like, I mean, we're probably not gonna know. Maybe like 10 years down the road, it will come out or whatever. Do you think they were not working actually, where they were like, well, let's see how these guys are aging, or like they were just like, this was the plan all along, where like, you can tell from the players that their intention was not to leave. Like this is unless we came up and said we'll give you 100 a week or something like that. Unless our thing was two-way out there, they were
Yeah,
going to try to find a way to work. And I guess there's the difference between the three, right? Like the two, you heard both of them talk about after they sign. And I know, like after they sign, obviously they're gonna say all that stuff, but I mean, you have a family. It's a big deal to kind of like uproot your family and take them all over the place and stuff like that too, especially when they're established, happy the way things are going. More, probably more than others, unless he was going back to Saudi or something like that, going to a foreign country, the culture differences and stuff like that. Looks like he has established a good way over there in Liverpool to live his lifestyle with no worries and stuff like that, while Trent is the guy who doesn't really have a family, or his family is his freaking agent, which is his biggest problem. So maybe he's not looking at those factors. They knew Van Dijk when Mo were going to stay. Maybe they just said, well, let's see how they're aging. They want to stay and everything, but
yeah. I mean, that could be a part of it. Maybe we'll find out in 5 years when they make a documentary about Hughes or about about Slot. Who knows?
he was the
But
greatest GM, Liverpool GM of all
yes.
time in 5 years. Yeah, okay.
And then the episode ends. But yeah, maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. But it does make sense. They wanted to see how they're gonna do, throughout the season. 30 games in, 31 games in. Are these guys gonna last? Any injuries? Any slowing down? And they've shown that they're only getting better. Standard is not dropping. So they were like, okay, you know what? Let's make it happen. But it did feel like those two were always in and that one was always out. But yesterday I was reading a report that the one might also be in. So I don't know.
We'll talk about that. Where I'm like, like it's, let's make it out at this point. Let's move on. Let's finish
Yeah,
this.
right. Just go. We
Yeah,
we
just
moved on already. Go.
yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, we're good. Good.
So this is an uncle that hasn't watched the slot press. No, he kind of downplayed. He did not say we will not see big changes. He did
Cersei
say it's
translated it in his
already
own
big.
words.
Basically,
Oh,
like new signings. He basically said it's already big with these two guys like staying and re-signed and stuff like that. But I kind of, I mean, that's like manager. Not to mention he won't know, right? He's just a coach.
right. He's just the coach.
He's like, nobody tells me anything. But are you buying that these guys were told? Because they did both go out of their way to mention
Yeah.
that, the ambitions, the plans, and stuff like that, they kind of liked. Or are they saying, like, I'm in the plan, so I like the plan kind of a plan?
No,
Or
it
are
was
you
very
buying that
clear.
they were told, hey, we're going to go after this? This is our war chest, and all that kind of stuff?
They were both told the plans. We saw what Mo said. We saw what Verge said. They were both clear. The club has plans for the summer. They word for word.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're gonna say put pen to paper. We're gonna sign players, and then as soon as they put pen to paper, ha ha. It's just not how it works. It's
Yeah, but
just
at
not
the
how it
same
works.
time, I can tell you right now, like, hey, dude, Anand, you got a huge bonus coming, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Why don't you sign right here, and then we'll talk about all that stuff next week. And then after you sign, you're like, you know what happened with that bonus?
Well,
That guy
do
went
you?
somewhere else. He wanted this. So
But
anyway,
do you
we
want that
tried.
disgruntled, upset employee? I mean, that's yeah. What you're saying is 100% right. But do you want me to lose trust and faith in you? You don't want that.
What
Not
do
for
I
your
care? You're gone in
captain.
2 years anyway.
Yeah, well, not for your captain. So no, I think it's gonna
I
be a
get,
big
I
summer.
hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But who knows? I mean, but Slot really doesn't know. I mean, jokes aside, he really doesn't know. Um, I'm sure they'll be like, "Hey, you bald fuck, we got this new guy. Go train him." And he'll be like, "Okay, I
Here's
train."
stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that what happened? He's like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" That's like Chiesa. Where does he play? And he googles him. Oh, I know you. So who knows? But I do believe the club will have a big summer. not big enough for like 8, 9 players, but I do see 2, 3 players coming. We already know Darwin's out. You want to tell me the club's not going to replace the striker? I mean, come on. The club is clear. Darwin's leaving. Fabrizio confirmed. He also confirmed the contact with Saudi in January, and he was leaving. I mean, there's no way the club's going to be like, okay, Darwin out. He don't do goal anyway. We don't get anyone else. It's just not going to work.
Why is Mo talking on behalf of the club?
I don't know at this point. But they're just not going to not sign anyone. We know we might be in the market for a right back. We just know it. We know the club's in the market for a center back. We just know it. So, yes, it will not be a summer where we're spending 800 million, I understand, but it's also going to be a summer where we bring in 3 players minimum. And I know, Salah and Verge signed 2 new signings. Like every time Lallana came back from injury, it's like a new signing. But no, we're not doing that this time.
Yeah, see, that's the question, though. I wonder. I know you mentioned center back, and I think if the right deal is there, they will probably go for it. But in some ways, what this does is you don't have to worry about 2 positions. So if you lost these 3, that's another like 140 million that you're gonna have to spend to replace these guys. You don't have to worry about these until next year now. So you can replace them next summer, and you can focus on everything else this summer. And you do have enough to focus on, really. I mean, your left back situation, your center forward, like you said, right back, obviously, if Trent leaves and stuff like that. So I guess I'll ask you that, since you mentioned it. The chances of, even today in the press conference, the number of times he kept saying 2 out of the 3 and the 2 big ones and stuff like that tells me, like, if you try to read between the lines, like, they've already kind of like up here, he's already gone, kind of like an ordeal going for them. Is there any coming back from that?
I think so. And it's opinion, not fact, by the way, but I think so. I think there is coming back, and I think
I like how you specify that, like opinion, not facts.
Yeah, because I every time I say, well, you said that. Yeah, every time I say that, everybody's like, well, you said that. Yes, it's my freaking opinion. I'm entitled to one. Well, but you said, okay, I can say it again. But yeah, I possible, very, very possible. I think it's possible, and I think it's doable. And honestly, I am leaning towards it. I was looking in our messages yesterday, and it was a message that I sent 9 months ago, and I said, just go to Madrid already. I don't know, we were talking about something, and then I replied about Trent, just go to Madrid already. And I was like, okay, so the whole group, like all of us knew he's out at the end of the season. Like there wasn't anybody that said shut up. Everybody's like, yeah, just fuck off. Like everybody knew. So now it's happening. Everybody's like, oh no, why?
That must be the United game or something where we're all like,
probably, yeah. So like we all knew what's going on 9 months ago, 8 months ago. Now everybody's surprised, but is the surprise that he could potentially stay in the club and there's still an offer on the table and Hughes is a freaking genius? Yes, it's very possible. So I wouldn't rule it out, especially with the madness in Madrid. But if Jurgen goes to Madrid,
stop spreading crap, for God's sakes.
If Jurgen goes to Madrid,
I know it's reckless, but reckless.
If Jurgen goes to Madrid, here's who goes to Madrid: Trent and potentially McAllister.
No, first of all, you can just erase the club Real Madrid things altogether. It's just not gonna happen.
Clip this. I need this clipped.
Yeah, clip it all you want. Clip it. Let's post it, share it. But yeah, that is just not happening. I just don't think it's a good fit overall. It's not a strength. If anything, it's his weakness. He's not. Klopp and Mbappe on the same team. When everybody was running around with Mbappe rumors to Liverpool, we were talking about it then, saying like, "Are you freaking serious? Mbappe on Klopp team? How would that even work?" Now you're gonna put Vinicius over there. What is, dude? The ever so trusted Liverpool.com. Right below, there's 5 Premier League teams interested in Costa's article over there.
and right under it, Liverpool signed Mbappe.
Solo, what's going on, man? Cersei says, "Can we block on?" I tried.
I want to block on at this point. All these thoughts in my head, I want to block them. Trust me.
That's why he's always up at late at nights. Can't erase the thoughts. No, I mean, okay. Let's go back to the Trent thing because I think I said this last week. I know I definitely said it for a Monday. At this point, I can't see anything good coming out of Trent staying. Is it just me? I mean, I know
Yeah,
I've been his biggest critic anyway, especially
it's
his
just you.
defending or lack thereof, or lack of care for defending and stuff like that. I just don't see anything good coming out of him staying now. Because if he stays, second match next season, when he does his what he does defensively, we're going to be like, he should have gone to Madrid, blah, blah, blah. He has lost that, especially being the scouts from the team and stuff. And that's why he's getting a lot more hate locally, by the way, than from us. And I've said this before. But I was saying this on Discord yesterday. There was like an invisible shield around Trent. If Robertson made half the errors Trent makes defensively, he would be hammered, right? But there was like this invisible shield, obviously partially due to his, passing ability and all that kind of stuff. But more than that, because he was the Scouser, he was like this and that and stuff like that. I feel like he cracked that shield now. So if he comes back and makes the same mistakes, that protection is no longer there. And you know what happens when you don't use protection?
Oh, I mean, yes. What I'm here what I'm saying is that protection you're referring to is also what Curtis Jones has, but I'm not gonna get to that now.
We talked about that. We talked about that before, and I think to a certain point, yes. Let me put it this way: probably got more opportunities
Yes.
compared to if we signed the middle average dude from Bolivia or something like that. But
Right.
to be fair, at the same time, you see his skill. There's something that's
Oh yeah,
both
absolutely.
managers are seeing on the practice pitch, saying like it's going to eventually come up. But go ahead, sorry.
Absolutely.
You had to just get
But
a
what if
for Jones
what
over.
if that protection that he has that's gone increases if he comes out and says, I never said anything, but now that I have a moment, I'm rejecting Real Madrid. I've always wanted to be Liverpool. This is my city, my club. Steven Gerrard did that exactly, by the way, when he was going to Chelsea. He did that exactly, and everybody wanted him dead. And then everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's me, legend like it's Steve Gerrard," and everybody's like, "Okay, we love him."
These
So,
accents are getting worse and worse in the morning. But
so, so Stevie
is it
G
the
did the
same
same
thing
thing.
though?
I would say so. But actually, can we be real? It was worse. He was he was going to our rival that was shitting on us in the league.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, well, the rumor was there. Well, not rumor. I mean, the offer was there and everything like that. But it wasn't. I don't know, man. I find this way too sneaky. If Van Dyke went somewhere else right now, I would not feel as well. That was shady
Yeah.
as Trent going. Just the way it has been handled over the last 6 to 8 months and stuff like that. And Trent has done that to himself. That's why I don't hire family for this gig, as I was saying last week. But uh, so you will be able to watch very neutrally and the same way if Trent is back next year.
Yes. Personally, for me, I don't see why not. Players come and go, players negotiate, players do all this, and then ultimately their final decision is what they're remembered by.
What kind of a Trent would you get? Or let me ask you this way. What kind of a wage you would be okay with? Like, are you okay with Trent getting Van Dyke money? Or
No.
slightly less than Van Dyke, like 300,000? Because I'm not. I really am not.
So 300,000 I'm okay with.
Yeah, see, I'm not. I just don't think any right back is worth that.
Here's where I am
Especially
with
a
that.
right back who doesn't defend.
Here's where I am with that. 300,000 for Trent.
It's not my money thing.
Well, you know that. I'm not even going to say it because it's not my money, but 300,000 for Trent if he signs, and then you sell him to Madrid next year for 60 or 70. Just don't lose him on a free.
I mean, financially, that's a good move, right?
It's just what's his
But
name?
what are you gonna
Richards.
get? I just want to see, like, my worry is what kind of a Trent is going to go out there.
Well, yeah, that's the
If this is
question.
the
We
Trent you
don't.
got this season. What kind of a Trent you're going to get next season when he knows? Well, once it's Now they're gonna get paid, so they'll stop their bitching, and I can go to Madrid like I wanted to. What kind of a play are you gonna get from a guy like that?
Yeah, you really can't predetermine. You could get the best version of Trent ever because he got paid what he wants and he's getting what he wants soon, or you could get the bitchy one who's like, "Oh, great, here we go." But I think when it comes to his football, he's a professional, and I think he would do the job. So I don't know. Again, it's a 50-50 as of this point. We all know in our head he's gone, but what if something changes and he stays and he pens, a new deal, 4 years, 5 years, and we move on from this saga and we just get out of it. And kind of like Steven Gerrard, everybody forgot it 2 months later, even though 2 months ago he was going to Chelsea. And we just kind of pretend like it never happened. Because till today, you don't see people calling Gerrard a traitor or anything bad because he was about to sign for Chelsea. He was very close. I mean, it was so close. I was like, fuck, we're losing Gerrard.
But here's the thing. I think you go back to play and professionalism when you talk about Stevie, and that part you can't compare to Trent's.
We don't know yet.
Never doubted efforts. You never ever have I thought Stevie's not into it, or he's not feeling it, or he's kind of like, his head is somewhere else and stuff like that. You never question that, whereas we have done that with Trent.
Yeah, and that's where the difference comes in. What do we get from Trent if he stays? It's a big if, by the way. It's a giant if. Real Madrid is officially in a rebuilding phase, so they want Trent. They want, if they can get, not necessarily what I'm saying, but if they want McAllister, they want McAllister. If they want anybody, they want to go get him now because they're in a rebuilding phase. And when you're in that phase, nobody turns down Madrid because they spend stupid money. And considering they haven't spent much money in the last few years, they've relied on the same aging midfield, the same aging defense, the same everything. Even Mbappe, they could have gotten him the year before for this much money. It's like, yeah, we'll just wait and get him for free. I mean, this is a team that
this is what they do.
Yeah,
They just wait.
this is a team that waited for the best player in the world, essentially, his contract to run down in hopes he doesn't accept literally 500 million from Qatar and PSG, and he didn't accept it to go there. So it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up there. But again, that team's going to be in a rebuild phase when they sign club. I mean, when they get a new manager. You know the Real Madrid process, right? Hire a manager, win the league, win the Champions League, don't win nothing, bring Zidane back. And they just go in a circle. So they are now at the bring Zidane back line. So
That's
he comes
what
back.
Was.
Yeah. He comes back and then he starts finally signing players because no manager that they signed other than Zidane has signed players. So they'll go full circle. Zidane will sign
Alonso now because that's what he was supposedly being groomed for.
Yeah.
So why are we still talking about the scrub Trent? See, this is what I mean. I feel like the locals have a lot more hate for Trent than definitely we do over here. But yeah, I mean, Sola has been saying it too. I mean, I think a lot of us overall were like, when we ranked the importance, you might swap, Van Dijk and Mo, but it was always those two on top. So the important ones are done. Siwi was only going to leave because Perry was screwing around with his contracts, not because he wanted to rise. Yes, and that's another deal too. I mean, like I say, there are different situations. I know, like, how you can draw the parallels on because number one, it's you. You draw all kinds of weirds like parallels.
Got a pen to connect the dots.
Connecting odd dots is your thing. Okay, so this is from the press conference. Serzi is losing his crap.
Nobody's losing anything. I'm good with what he's. I'm very happy with his
crap. I mean, he's not going to say, basically, when he was asked about the big summer and stuff like that, which is probably what he's going to be asked for the next 5-6 weeks now, because everybody's seeing the writing on the wall and the contract conversation is done. This is going to be the new question. I mean, he was like, I would already consider it big because we signed these two guys. I'm happy. I mean, he's not going to come and say in the press conference, 5-6 of these guys gotta go. I can't stand freaking like our left backs or something like that.
Elliot, who the fuck does he think he is?
And who brought this Italian guy over here? Yeah. So he's going to play the game like Solo is saying. I think there shouldn't be anything read into what he's saying in the press conference.
He's about, what are we, 2 games away from winning the league, or is it 3?
It's 2. We could even do it this weekend. If Arsenal loses this week and we win, we seal it this Sunday. So bring a cigar.
So it's 2 because Arsenal's not losing to Ipswich.
Probably. Yeah. You never know because they could be in that league is done mode.
Yeah, we got to focus on the Champions League. We
Yeah.
were in a semifinal. Yeah, who knows? You're right. But Leicester is going to be a high-scoring game. We'll score plenty of goals, and then we're one game away from winning the league. He's not going to come out and say, "Oh, everybody sucks, and we need 8 new players." It's just not going to happen. So yeah, I don't look too much into the presser and anything said about any presser about transfers because those pressers are made to not talk about transfers. They're
Yeah,
made to
I
talk
think
about everything
until
else.
everybody gets off the parade bus, there wouldn't be anything, even said going on and stuff like that. Solo man, trust me, you don't want to listen to any of Anand's accents. He has a horrible, horrible Scouser accent that he does. Well, he did it a little bit ago, so it'll be embarrassing for anybody on that side of the pond. And then he does a lot of accents that he thinks are genuine, but nobody can cipher what it is. What is your normal accent?
Just like this, the way I'm talking.
Whatever that is, yeah.
Yeah, like just normal. But starting next week's
But how
episodes,
long have you been here, by the way?
since 2004.
2004.
Well, not on this chair, but here in the country, since 2004.
Wow. Such an idiot. But I mean, so you're like me, basically. You've been here longer than you've been back home.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why the accent, but it's still there, but it's not.
No, it slips out in some words. Like it definitely slips out in some words. But I've decided going forward, anytime I'm talking, I'm gonna just use this one right here. Everything is nice. We're gonna win everything. Everybody should be happy. We got Virgil van Dijk signing a new contract
for yourself is that you look
for
like
millions and millions of dollars, and we're winning. We're winning big. We're winning so big. I'm just gonna talk like
we're
that.
Winning, right? No, I think the Amarim.
Oh, 1 second. Ice is knocking on my door. I might be. No. Okay, I'm done. That's it for today. No more stupid things.
And just like that, you're deported back.
And just
back
like that, he's
home.
done.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get to this weekend. First of all, how much do you care about this weekend? In terms of like lineup, I kind of expect the standard issue lineup: Bradley on the right, Ali in back. I mean, the back line kind of, for God's sakes, let's put Robertson back on left back. Start with the regular back four. Midfield, standard issue midfield? Or are you doing
there's
something
no changes in the midfield. We
Up
got no
top?
other competitions to play for, so just fucking burn
Yeah,
their
I
legs.
mean, might as well just run them to the ground at this
So
point. They got
up
68
top is
points.
the difference. Again,
Okay.
I don't see a purpose of Jota. Not saying Nunez has been any better. Trust me. But this is a game to play Darwin. See if he can get a goal or two.
Yeah,
Play
that's
Chiesa.
definitely going to get canceled.
Yeah. Play Chiesa. Play freaking Gakpo. I don't know. Just stop playing Jota because he is not doing anything. He is doing absolutely
I'm
nothing.
on you now. Okay, I'm going to flip this on you. So in
Let
the
me get
last
my Uno reverse card.
What are you doing over there?
Can I get my Uno reverse card?
In the last 6 weeks, can you Trevor says, I signed a copy of the Art of the Deal for Richard. Hey, man, he can have his own Art of the Resign. But is there a player out there in the front six? Well, I mean, take Mo out, right? So out of the front five, is there a player that can do something that will, in the last 6 weeks, that will change your opinion on them? Like Jota, let's say, starts.
No.
Locks out sixth on the bounce on the way out, like at the end of the season.
No, and I'm a huge Nunez fan, but even him, no. Like, what's he gonna do? Score? If he scores 30 goals, okay, but no, it's just not gonna happen. There's nothing convincing because it isn't about the stretch of 6 weeks. It's about a stretch of 38. It's about the Champions League. It's about the Cup. It's about the opportunities that we missed that we could have been in some of these competitions. I think it's too late for anybody to prove a point. And as I was commenting on a YouTube video of American Scouser this morning, because I comment on stuff.
When was this? Hold on, let's dig through the archives.
You guys, the short where you guys were talking about the French players and what happens.
Oh yeah.
So here's what I commented, and I'll remember what I said. Just wanted to let you guys know I commented. No big deal.
Don't worry, we're keeping records anyway.
But what I said is, in the last 6 weeks, nobody's going to earn a spot for next year. But you can put a price tag on them in the last 6 weeks. Okay. If they go out there, they perform. I don't give a shit how well they play. Here's what I give a shit about. did the resale value go up for the summer's quote unquote transfer season, the rebuild, the transfer moves that we're going to make? Maybe if Harvey Elliott goes out there in the next 4 games and he has a great offseason, a great end of season, we could sell him to Brighton this off season for a few $1,000,000 more than what's expected, or whatever that may be. Nunez, we know he's going. If he bags a couple of goals, maybe we get a few million more for him. Jota, I think the most anybody would pay for Jota right now is in the 20s or 30s. Maybe we can increase that. These guys that are gonna go if
But
eventually
then
this
don't you want
summer.
to start Jota? You just bench Jota. Make up your mind.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying start him. I'm saying if he does anything. I'm not sure who starts and who doesn't, but I'm saying if they play, because in the video you guys were talking about if they play.
Yeah.
If they play, I just worry about their price tag going up. I can't think of anything else that they would do. League's done. We won the league. Play the guys that got you there. But those guys that you can use to increase your chances of doing something better on the field, but also your chances of a higher price tag, go for it. We do that in preseason. He did it last preseason. The guys he wanted to sell, he played. And then an offer came for Ben Doak and an offer came for, Tyler Morton. So it's those guys that we can put eyes on so we can increase their retail value, like they would say. That's the only thing I can think of. Other than that, I just don't see anybody doing anything where we're like, dude, no way we're selling Jota, bro. He's like so good, man. He's not gonna.
But here's
There's
my
just
thing.
nothing.
If you put Jota, that can also backfire too. Like you start Jota another 6 games, and it's the Jota of the last 4 games. The more like a verdict out there is, I think this guy might be done. Kind of.
Yeah,
thing.
like his
I personally still think in a summer where you're gonna spend money, and you have quite a few areas to address, and you'll probably be selling some players. I am perfectly okay with keeping Jota in the squad as your 70th minute sub when you need a goal or like your rotation piece.
And that's the crazy part. I'm actually okay with doing that with Nunez, but because of his price tag, I'd rather let him go. Because of the money we paid for him and what we can get for him, I'd rather let him go. I see no reason to keep Jota. I'd use Dan's. I'd keep him on the bench. So I'd have a proper center forward that we would sign this summer, and I would have Jaden Dan's on the bench. And, if a Chiesa stays, I got another option.
See, here's the danger with that I see. If something happens to the guy you sign, let's say you sign Isak, right? Who can get injuries here and there. So if he's out, now you're like suddenly Dan's is like what you have as your starting center forward. I think if you have Jota, which Jota could be injured at the same time, then you go to Dan's. But normally, at least you still have an experienced guy in Jota coming in for your center forward. I mean, you don't have to like sell Dan's. You can still keep Dan's in the background.
Yeah. I mean, that's one way to look at it. I'm just not convinced with Jota anymore as a player. Maybe
My
as
thing
a
is like,
89.
how many pieces do you change? Like, I know what you mean, but how many pieces do you change? You had the front 6. Well, again, let's take Mo out. So you have 5 guys up there. I feel like changing more than 2 is reckless.
Unfortunately, we're likely to change 3 because Diaz could be well on his way out by his own decision and his father and Barcelona, not us. We would love to keep him, obviously. But I think because of his dad and his agent and his interest in playing in Spain, that's one out. Then you've got Nunez. He's already on the way out, confirmed, good to go. Now the question is, what do you do with Jota? Because that's the one we can control. Do you keep him or do you resell him to like a Wolves, or do you let him go to like a Brighton or a smaller club, Manchester United, these tiny small clubs, and then you see what you do with a player like that. I personally would prefer to sell him, get 20 million, 25, 30, whatever it is. But if we lose 2, we only got the new center forward coming in. Yes, we need an experienced backup. So Jota might be good, but then maybe we could look at a Delap where we're signing a player who's got a relegation clause for 30 million. And now you've got a Delap and a big signing. By the way, write this down, clip it. I'm not convinced by Delap at all, but it's just a conversation that's coming up.
I mean, he would probably go where there's here's the thing. If you're getting a big dude, like a signature signing for that spot, I don't think Delap wants to go to that team anyway.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, he's the best player in Ipswich, and they're shit. Yeah, Ricky Lambert was amazing. in Southampton.
Yeah, I'm not. John has been a huge, and he got hammered on Wednesday for bringing up Delap and stuff. I mean, honestly, the biggest links is mentioned for Chelsea, um, which to me makes a bit more sense because that is a need for them. But I mean, they have like
Plus,
6 guys who can
it
play
makes
there,
sense.
but none of them has played well.
Chelsea only have 7 strikers, so they definitely need one more.
Yes, exactly.
Out of those 7, at least 6 were over 50 million. They definitely need one more. Like, yes, they got to sign one because like they only paid 50, 60, 70 million for the guys they have. Not enough. They got to pay more. Get another one. It's Chelsea standard.
Is it
Get
like Ramadan again? Because Serzi is totally out of it. He says, I agree with Anan, but then you say, I wouldn't buy a bench player. He just did. He just bought Delap for the bench for 30 million. So you're not agreeing with Anan. It's like, what is going on?
Just take a screenshot.
And stop saying Osimhen. Anybody who has touched the Galatasaray jersey should not be in the vicinity of the club in an ideal scenario. He is a good talent. I'll give him that. But yeah, that'll be like an interesting one right there because I think that's a name that's been thrown around a lot. The only thing about him is, where was it the other day? They were talking about, in terms of like the characters that this club brings in, right? We don't roll the dice on a guy that has. You don't sign a Dennis Rodman in this team, right? You just don't. That's not how this club is, and that's what I really love about the club. I think you get a little bit of that with Osimhen. Like you get a troubled past and stuff like that. Like we're not like the Vegas Raiders of the Premier League over here. We're like, but the upside kind of a thing. We just don't. Because there's another guy that doesn't have the downside. We'd rather go with that. That's why I feel like that's not a good link.
We did that with Balotelli, and we know how that played out.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's one of the last names I can think of, right? Where we went that route.
Yeah, in a desperate attempt to try to do something, and then our front three scored 1 goal in 18 games.
But let me ask you this: at the same time, to play the devil's advocate, can you also say what's make another NFL reference? What the Patriots used to do, which they would get a guy who was a trouble somewhere else.
Aaron Hernandez?
No, deflating the balls. No, like they would get a guy who was seen as a problem somewhere else, but the locker room and the culture was so solid that guy would come in there and suddenly become a model citizen, except Aaron Hernandez.
But exactly. But that also backfires because you think you've got a good guy who's in the culture. He gives you the feeling that he's buying into it, but he's out there killing people. Aaron Hernandez. So it's not a risk I want to take. I will counter Osimhen with one guy, Ademola Lookman, Atalanta. The guy who scored the hat trick in the Europa League final last year.
The guy who insisted on taking the penalty kick and missed it.
The guy where he is very known for taking bad penalties. I don't understand what that was about, but I would take him over Osimhen just because proven, scores goals, no problems outside of the penalty, and a hell of a good player. I don't know if you guys watch him. He's a very, very good player. Good on the ball, good off the pole, super pacey, can finish beautifully. And the nice thing, he does not stop running. He's an engine. And it's very rare to find strikers that run with a purpose. We're so used to Darwin.
So this is the Lookman that couldn't make it at Everton?
Yes, the Lookman that couldn't. You know what? James Rodriguez couldn't make it at Everton. I'm not. Carlo Ancelotti couldn't make it at Everton. I'm not gonna have that debate. I'm not gonna have that debate.
Point. That's a good point. I think that sometimes that's. I mean, like when we brought back Mo,
Lukaku couldn't make it at Everton.
I mean, when we signed Mo, that's what everybody said. Like he couldn't do in Chelsea. Where are they getting him and all that kind of stuff? He's not good enough for the Premier League.
When Manchester City signed Kevin De Bruyne, it's like, oh, the Chelsea reject. Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly who it was.
And that's where I think I have faith in, this Edwards Hughes, collab efforts over there. I have faith in him. I mean, Hughes' track record, you can see it in Bournemouth. You can see the players in Bournemouth alone, right? And we already know Edwards. I don't know. I have faith in if they say this guy, I'm going to 95% of the time buy it, then challenge it because I'm going to say they know something that we don't because they have hits gold more than they have gotten us duds.
Right. Look at Kirkez. Now everybody wants Kirkez, and that's a complete
Yeah.
Hughes signing. And that's the only one I vouch for, and I will continue to talk about Kirkez. Kluivert. Kluivert was on the market, and not many people were interested. Not many in Justin Kluivert. And Bournemouth signed him, and everybody was like, "Oh, nepotism." His dad has nothing to do with Bournemouth. He's got nothing to do with the club. It was Hughes, and he saw something, and he signed him. Could go down as one of the best players in the league this season in a club like Bournemouth. Him and Kirkez. So hope we get Kirkez.
Spanish kids at center back.
Hussein, but for some reason it's with a J.
Yeah.
So weird. Just say it, bro. Don't worry. Nobody's gonna deport you.
Just admit it.
Yeah.
He looks very much like a Hussein too, by the way.
Yeah, right. And then now Real Madrid want him, PSG want him, apparently Liverpool want him, Chelsea. Everybody wants Hussein, So like I think that speaks volumes for Richard Hughes selling Solanke for the amount of money he did and ended up being what he is at Spurs. And I am proud of our season preview when I said the worst signing is going to the year is going to be, and I said Solanke just because I think Bournemouth is a different beast than Tottenham, and absolutely different beast because the guy, I don't even know if he's still a professional footballer. I haven't heard of him. But Dominic Solanke.
Oh, shut up! He's still there. I think so.
I didn't know.
Player. I just thought the price was way too high.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. The price just made absolutely no sense. But yeah, Richard Hughes got that money. He's the one that got the price. Yeah. So he's a proven.
Thought we fleeced him,
right?
When we sold him Solanke for 30 or something like that. At the time,
exactly. And yeah, we're like, haha, he got him for 30. He's like, haha, sold him for 70.
Yeah. I mean, that's why there is a built-in trust with what they're going to do. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it and question it all summer and stuff, but I have faith in them getting the right people, personality-wise, like we were talking about earlier. And if they get a guy who we have not heard of much, I'm going to have faith that it's going to work out more often than say, why the hell did they get this guy? I think most fans would if they haven't heard of him and if he's not an expensive signing. But I will have faith in these guys finding like a gem for like 12 million or something like that as your future right back or something like that.
Yeah, I'd be fully on board with any signings they make. The only thing that was upsetting me is their delay in negotiating contracts. But other than that, the record speaks for itself.
Worked like a charm, as I said, it would.
I don't know if it worked like a charm.
Receipts. I got receipts all over the place for that.
You gotta stop keeping receipts. Let people bullshit their way through things.
You're the one going back reading 9-month-old messages that you wrote, which
no, because
I don't know how much time you have on your hands to do that, but
I was driving for 5 hours and I was listening to I was going from Chicago to home, and I was listening to a show, and in the show they were talking about Trent, and he's like, well, that's a big surprise for Liverpool supporters. They never thought they would lose him. I was like, you're an idiot. And I was like scrolling and I was like, here's this from 9 months ago, and we all said, yeah, Trent's out. Like, what are you talking about? You must be new to this.
I think that was maybe. Do you think though we said that because I like this whole Trent thing? I feel like the locals have a totally different take on it than we do because the connection is different with the city and stuff. Do you think we were able to look from outside a little bit more objectively than the people in Liverpool saying he'll never leave us? Whereas we're outside looking at it a bit more business-like and bigger picture and more objectively.
Well, the Scouser on our team, Kazi, didn't think he would leave, so yes.
Yes.
The locals did not think their local boy will leave to anybody, Madrid or not. And it's different sometimes when you're an outsider. You see it without, the feelings. You see it without emotion, and you're like, yeah, he's out. But then people look at it with emotion, and they're like, come on, he's from this club. He gets to captain this team soon, and he's this and he's that. He ain't going nowhere. It's just sad for them. And I sympathize, but sometimes we got to just remember this is a business and money rules, money talks. Playing in Madrid is, to many footballers, is the biggest honor in their life. And if they get the chance, not many say no. Only Stevie said no to Madrid, but not many say. I'm sure other players have, but not many say no. So,
I mean, they might have said no because they said yes to Barcelona or something. But
right, exactly. It's like, oh yeah, no, thank you. I like the other side. So yeah, we really don't know. Man,
yeah, I mean, I understand the business part of it. like what I've said all along, and I still stand behind it, and I will be proven right even further if I'm still around in like 5 years or so when he's done playing. I think this will be a bad business decision all around.
I don't think it'll be bad. I think it'll be horrible, horrendous, and one of the biggest mistakes of he and his brother's career. And I always say
His
it.
brother's career, he doesn't have a career.
His
And then like
brother,
the problem, yeah.
his brother's career is walking around with Trent saying, "I'm his agent." You know, that's what he does. It's like Harry Kane's brother. He has a whole office, and his only client is Harry Kane, and he's got a agency. It's the funniest
Pictures of
thing ever.
Kane everywhere.
And it's pictures of Kane everywhere. It's the creepiest thing I've ever seen. But I think, yeah, I know you know this. I know football fans know this, but I know some players are sometimes they act like obtuse, like they just don't know it. You go to Madrid, you make a mistake, you cost them any points, you're officially the enemy. It doesn't matter who you. This is a team that turned on Iker Casillas, their own born and bred legend. This is a team that turned on Raul Gonzalez, their highest scorer ever, obviously prior to Ronaldo, a legend of the club, a player so good. The king of Spain said he stays on the pitch regardless of what happens for the national team and club. This is how he was viewed. They turned on him when he stopped scoring goals, when he was in his, in his 30s. This is a team that they brought David Beckham in. He made them so much money, but they hated him on the pitch, so they booed him. They fucking chased after him. They made him hate his life so much. He called AC Milan. He's like, "Would you guys take me on loan? Like, I hate it here." He doesn't understand. This is a team that took Michael Owen, but because of his injuries, it didn't work out as well as it was when he was a young boy in Liverpool. They said, "Fuck right off and go to Newcastle."
Yeah.
People don't see. This is a team that took Martin Odegaard at the age of 17.
Yeah.
Because he was doubted to be the next big thing. At 19, he played a couple of games. They hated him. They fucked him off to whatever shitty team he went to. People don't understand that if you go to Madrid, it's more than just, I got to play this badge. I dreamed about this since I was a kid. The pressure, the fans, and, the racist media that if you're not a Spaniard, you're bad, will go after you. It doesn't help Trent that he's also black. They're already going to go after you because you're not Spanish. You're also black. You're giving them ammunition. This media, these fans, these people are shit. And he has a howler like he did for us against United, for example. Toast. He will hate his life. It's just not going to be the same. He's going to get booed. It's going to lead to the manager taking him out, sitting him on the bench and telling him, "Get your head back in together, get in shape, blah, blah, blah." And then go back out. In a World Cup year, Trent, you don't want that. You do not want that.
Yes,
you want to be in the World Cup in the space of 12 months come this beginning of this coming season. 12 months from now, he's going to be already on a plane getting ready to start the England camp. Well, 12 months from next month. So why would you put a risk in any of that and not get the chance to play for England? You are potentially the number one right back option for England right now. Do you want to go to Spain, have a bad season, and end up on the bench? I don't think so. And I feel like it would be huge.
It's a bad decision, I think, short term, long term, you name it. I mean, I don't think people understand the media aspect of it. People think, oh, the British media is just as bad. Not even close, because, I mean, countries like that, like Spain is like, Italy is like that too. I mean, Turkey is like that. I don't know how Greece, maybe it's a Mediterranean thing as we go down the coast over there. But they have newspapers that are just sports, like literally just sports. There's nothing else. Like Turkey has them, Spain has like 4 or 5 of them, like, and they're like all basically, what are you gonna write every freaking day? What are you gonna write? So that's what they write. So they're on you 24/7 for basically to provide them content.
And there's
you can't compare it to the British media.
Right. And there's certain journalists that will now follow a certain player so they can keep writing about him and keep updating about him on a weekly basis. So Trent has a shit game. Now he writes about him the following game. He's also shit again. And then they just keep going.
Yep.
And they go how players. Like they did it to David Beckham, dude. They did it to David Beckham. At the end, the Madrid fans started saying, okay, Beckham was good to sell product and he's pretty, but we don't want him. Can't even take a corner.
I like he's pretty, but we don't want him.
Yeah, like it reached that level where they were just over it. And I think maybe a call from Thomas Tuchel, England manager, listen, dude, don't do it. Now is not the time. You want to be on that plane going to USA, Mexico, and Canada for the World Cup. So I don't know. It's a tough situation for Trent because I know he wants to play for Real Madrid. And like I said, he's accomplished everything in his head. Maybe it's okay to move on. But there's a saying in Arabic that says, I'm going to say it in Arabic and I'll translate it. "اللي طلع من داره المقداره." And it translates to whoever left his home loses his value. And I think if Trent leaves this club, he won't be viewed as the next big thing. He won't be viewed as the guy we love, the future captain. He'll just be viewed as the English right back that is either good or not. We'll find out in 5 games. 5 games in, oh yeah, just play Carvajal. At least we know how good he is. You know,
Yeah.
if Barcelona will be licking their lip. Oh, Trent, everybody come, everybody on the left, goalie, come to the left, everybody.
By the way, on a totally unrelated topic, do you find that, because this is the thing with like me and Angie all the time, that there are like really, really weird sayings in Arabic? Because I know there's like a ton of them in Turkish. When you translate it, it sounds so psychotic and
Yeah.
stupid, but they are like perfectly, like actually, like they explain it so well, but it's really
Yes.
sounds so
Like the one I just said now in Arabic even rhymes. Min طلع من داره المقداره.
Yes,
And then
they
in English,
rhyme,
leave
but it
home,
makes no
lose value. The fuck is that? Leave home, no more value. $2 only. Like it sounds like I'm selling like a shitty fucking pie. But like in Arabic, it makes so much sense. So
Yeah,
yes,
I know we go
sometimes
through this all the time at home, where like I'll say, like as they say back home kind of thing. And yes, first of all, you lose the rhyme, so it doesn't
Yes.
translate well, because the really 80% of it is the rhyme that makes the saying work. And then yeah, when you translate it. But let's go to this. When you said that, I was like, I think part of that is like being an old language. I think is a huge
Yes,
thing. Like
exactly.
English does not have as many of
Exactly.
those that, you know, as like an Arabic or Turkish does. But it takes a lot to stay in one city all your life. Sounds like a guy who's moved around. Salah and Van Dijk have played in other countries. What more can Trent achieve with us? What Trent can achieve is Trent can be, in 15 years, you'll watch a Liverpool game and you'll know where Trent is sitting at all times, kind of like you see where Dalglish is sitting at all times in the game. I think that's, do you want to become that? Or do you want to become Owen and have Howard Webb's, like sit on Howard Webb's lap and talk about stuff? Or do you want to be a legend that, you know, when you walk into a stadium, when you walk into a room, you know, every Liverpool fan in you gets up? And I think that's what basically you're leaving. You know what? He is what, 25? Dude,
25.
wait another 6 years and you'll have so much goddamn money that you can fly, you can buy your own plane, fly all over the goddamn place and travel. So this is not about going to different countries and, you know, he wants to say Spanish cuisine or something like that. He can do that. These guys have
All
money
they got
coming
is
out.
fucking paella. What else do they have? What fuck is he pretending like he's going?
Man. Spanish tapas.
Oh yeah, okay. Fuck yeah, you're right. Damn it. Yeah.
So I think that's the thing. You do stay to be the biggest player when you have the potential. You
don't compare Villa to us.
And don't compare Grealish.
Yeah, don't compare Villa to us.
Totally different things.
Like, come on.
Different things.
What?
You're winning Champions League. You're winning the title. Trent could possibly, in 5 years, have 4 to 5 Premier League titles to his name, right?
Yeah.
Especially, you know, we're talking about things go well, big summer and all that kind of crap. So he could be that guy who played his entire career from being a kid in the club there, leave, and he can travel the world whenever he comes in. Like the moment his plane lands in Liverpool, they'll roll the red carpet out all the way from the airport to the stadium. He could be that guy. He could, you know, sell whatever he wants, make boatloads of money as Mr. Liverpool. This is a horrible decision, like, and a horrible advice he's getting. But hey, he's not a kid. He's 25. If somebody like 16 does this, you'll be like, he's a kid. He's not a kid. He's making his own decision. You trust your brother to do it for you? That's on you.
And then Cersei, it's like saying if Cristiano Ronaldo stayed at Sporting Lisbon, he'd be the player he is today. No, it's just not how it works.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think there's like players. Like when Arda Güler went to Real Madrid, you know, nobody said, why are you going there? We get it, right? You want to win the Champions League and stuff like that.
Yes.
But he's at Liverpool. Like he's at that level. So
you're at the top. You're at the top pyramid of football. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's why it
yeah,
doesn't make sense.
horrible. I need that screenshot because I need that receipt. Fucking comparing Jack Grealish
Grealish,
and
yeah,
Aston
I know,
Villa
I know.
to being at Liverpool. Jesus, what's next? Well, Delap should stay at Ipswich. Look at him. You know, he's it's the same thing. They're getting relegated, sir. Doesn't matter. You know?
No, I think yeah. I mean, like I understand the like experiencing different things and stuff like that, but like that's not. I mean, he's 25 and he's this. We're talking about his next 5 years. Like they always talk about how short careers are and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I don't know. It just does not make sense to me. But
Yeah,
whatever. I mean,
and the
so let
travel
me ask you real
excuse
quick though. When will we stop speculating? When will we know for sure? You think?
when the season ends, I don't think
Oh, you
we'll.
really think so? Like it
Yeah,
won't be
yeah, I
like
don't
two
think
weeks when
no.
we announce the win.
I think he walks the pitch at Anfield and he waves and cries and hugs everybody. Potentially, we'll get a stage for him to say some stuff like they did with Jurgen, but I don't think anything till then. I just don't see it happening. That's not a distraction the team needs right now. Maybe if we
We're
wrap
gonna
the
put
league up
Trent on a
confirmed,
cage with a microphone in his hand when he's going to Real.
I think so. If he is to go, I think the club will honor him. I think the club views this differently than the fans because the club view it as a business. We view it as passion. And I think the club will just let him get that microphone. And who knows, maybe in the microphone he says, I'm not going anywhere. You know, you really, like the Leonardo
Or he
DiCaprio.
starts a new chant for the new ride, like for Bradley or something like that.
Yeah. Connor Redlaw.
I don't know. Like in some ways, I know why the club would, because you want like other players will look to see how they parts with players. Are you a bad breaker upper kind of a thing? Like
I'll
I
say
get why
this.
the club would, but I don't know how the fans would react to a
I'll
player
ask
saying
you
like,
this.
"I'm up to Madrid, bitches."
Let me ask you this. Who has more value as a player to the club? And don't think of anything other than value, talent, and price. Trent to Liverpool or Mbappe to PSG?
I mean, hold on, that's like a really trick question. At what time? Because when he was
When
running out of contract, or when he was like he could be signed.
his last day in the club, when he's already out of contract and he's going to Madrid, who would the club
Oh,
look at
Mbappe,
and say,
right,
"Damn,
yeah.
they still threw him a bus. They threw him a stage and they put all his trophies next to him and they gave him a giant shirt and they thanked him and they hugged him and he said goodbye." I don't see why the most human club in football, the most passionate club in football with the best fans, wouldn't do that for their own boy. I just don't see it. And I hope if he is to go, they do that. Doesn't matter how we
I
feel.
think they
If
will definitely
PSG
do it.
if
They will
PSG
definitely
can
do
do
it.
it to Mbappe, who they had just offered $500 million, and he still said, "Fuck off, I'm leaving on a free." Also, I just sued you 2 weeks ago because you haven't paid me, and they still did that. I don't see Liverpool not doing it for Trent. I
Yeah,
just don't.
I think Liverpool as a club would do it. And I don't think the fans would have a negative reaction to it, but it will be nothing like a club leaving
Oh no, absolutely
or
not.
like even like freaking like Matip leaving or something like that. It would be very like, okay, yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
kind of a deal. I don't
Well,
think there'll be like teary eyes or anything like that. It would
no,
be
he'll
like,
have team
at the end
eyes
of a
so we can.
play, the
Yeah,
first guys that come out, you're like, yeah, you guys were decent too.
yeah.
And then like the big guys come out at the end, you're like, you guys were really good. Like it's just like,
I,
so
I
I
also don't
expect
think
something like that.
I don't think it'll be thank you. I think it'll be thanks la. Like
Yeah,
I'm
your time's
done.
up.
I
Okay.
gotta go to
Your
work.
battery's running low.
I gotta go to work.
Score prediction for the Leicester game.
5-0.
Oh shit! I thought you were going with 6. I mean, you still went with 5.
I was gonna go with 6, and then I remember Jota Nunez 5. 2 for
I'll
Mo,
go with
3
the
for Diaz.
4-1, which I'm really scaring myself because I've been
Um,
seeing this game as a guaranteed win for so long, and usually these backfire on me. But I'm gonna go with the 4-1 on
so you
this.
think we'll concede? Leicester haven't scored a goal since January. Then they scored last week, and they probably won't score again until next year.
I I say we score, and then we kind of like relax a bit too much, make a lot of
Oh,
subs,
take out
and
Szoboszlai, put
like they
Jones in. Yeah,
score
yeah,
eventually, kind of a thing, like garbage
yeah,
time
yeah. It's.
goals, kind of
I
a thing.
agree. We would score. He would take out Szoboszlai, put Jones in. Then we start to concede goals because he's trying to dribble his own goalie. I see it. Facts,
I
facts.
know
But I'm still.
Szoboszlai. I didn't like the Szoboszlai quote, by the way. I didn't want to get into it this morning, but where he's talking, that's something that Van Dijk would never say. That's
What
something
did
that
Szoboszlai
Paul would
say?
never say. It's in our social media if you follow it. But no, I don't want to like exactly quote it, but it's something along the lines of, yeah. I mean, we're definitely thinking about the title winning or like stuff like that. Whereas, you ask a question like that to Van Dijk and Mo and stuff like that, they're like, we just gotta win the game. It's not done until it's done.
Yeah.
We gotta stay on task. Dude, once you did that, you look exactly like Amarim. Congratulations on the win yesterday.
This is
All right,
this my hair.
it was like, holy cow, you look even more like Amarim now. So that
Ananarim. No, this is the Sabosla hair. I bought the headband just for today's episode, and now because we haven't talked about him all episode, I didn't get a chance to do it. But now
well,
that we
hopefully
said,
you'll have a good game, and we'll get to talk about him next week. But we'll be back
Hope so.
Sunday for the pre-match. Obviously, I know it is Easter Sunday, but we'll be here. I know it's a slim crew. Everybody has like things to go and family members to deal with and stuff like that. But yes, we'll be here for the pre-match once the lineup comes out, and then obviously right after the game as well for the post-match. Have a great weekend, great Saturday, everybody, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. Take care.
take care.